Hey guys, Akinok here for noEHinTEAM, your #1 source for awesome, and welcome to Tell Me I'm Wrong, episode number 6. This episode, although delayed, usually we upload these more at the beginning of the week. We did this on purpose because we were waiting for the PS4 press conference / reveal / we're really not going to show you that much conference. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The whole episode is dedicated to it, and yeah, say hi guys.
Hey guys, A-Bomb here.
Hey guys, AK here.
So right off the bat, I just want to get your guys' opinion on what you thought. I'll just briefly... I didn't expect that much to be shown. I actually was probably the only person thinking that they weren't going to show the console, because you got to leave things for E3. I was okay with the content that they showed. I
was actually surprised at how much they did show. I was thinking this was basically just going to be a little teaser, like an announcement about an announcement, kind of like the way Square Enix did with their there's going to be a Final Fantasy title, and we're going to tell you about it at E3. So yeah, I was expecting more of that from Sony. So I was actually very pleasantly surprised with the press conference and with the entire thing. The fact that they had game developers in there touting their upcoming wares. It seems to me, now obviously it's a big PR move, so you know, all of Sony's partners, you know, as far as game development companies, are going to put up their best foot forward and their best face forward. But I really feel like it seems like game developers are excited about the PlayStation and they're getting behind it, and I think that bodes really, really well for the, you know, the upcoming, you know, stable of games on launch.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was definitely excited about the amount of content that was released during the event itself. I honestly didn't think we'd see anything. I didn't think we'd see anything, whether it be controllers, console. I didn't think we'd see any footage. I think we would have just been had to suffer with whatever screenshots we could find online. So yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised with getting to see some game footage, getting to see the controller, and getting to hear about a lot of the new features coming out for it.
All right, so I'll start the Tell Me I'm Wrongs. Tell Me I'm Wrong, it's a good thing the new controller still looks like a PlayStation controller.
Well, I won't tell you you're wrong, because I'm a PlayStation guy. But to be honest, I would love to see some company, whether it's Sony, Microsoft, or somebody else, truly make an ergonomic controller. Now, I personally don't mind that they've brought back the DualShock. I do like that they've extended the handles, because that's always been my biggest complaint with the DualShock, is that the handles are like, what are we, two-fingered aliens? Like what the hell are these? What are these little nubs on the sides of the controller? So I'm glad that they've done that with the DualShock. And honestly, I think the touchpad, as much as it maybe hasn't been lauded as a you know, whatever, touchpad, who cares? I think it's actually outstanding. I love the fact that if they want to, you know, I might be thinking too forward with this, but the touchpad could be used for mouse style navigation and menus, rather than a click 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 click, which we've all talked about a million times. And so, and I think having something, you know, like a minute, it could even add a couple of extra buttons in certain games, just, you know, based on like left side, right side, things like that. I think it gives them a lot of flexibility.
I'm hoping that it's going to be pretty universal and be able to use it anywhere. Like for exact example would be in the menus, just like you said. That would be nice. Just a nice little swipe, you know, almost like a touchscreen phone, which would be really nice. Way easier to navigate that way. And like you said, yeah, it should be able to add a couple more functionalities to the controller, whether it be, you know, button or settings with that there.
Yeah, and so looking at ways that you can improve the interface, that was the other thing that I was looking forward to seeing. They didn't show you that much. They kind of gave you a little bit of an example of what the new PlayStation interface is going to look like. For me, it's like, I don't know if Sony's just absolutely addicted to the way the menus are now, which for me, it takes way too freaking long to change one simple setting. But with that kind of swipe feature that you could see on the controller, it might make things a little bit better. But I want to make sure that, and I didn't get to see this because they didn't do any game demos. Well, obviously, you'll see it at E3. I want to make sure that you can get to exactly what you want without having to exit anything. And that was their big thing. They were talking about...
That's actually, or not, I shouldn't say confirmed, but Sony basically said that they're talking about the ability to actually multitask on the PlayStation 4. So that would mean you're in the middle of a game, and, I don't know, you need to change something, or, you know, send a quick message or whatever. There's certain things that you can't reach right now on the PlayStation 3 without quitting the game, and some of them are ridiculous, like changing your
audio
sound
settings,
output.
Yeah, I like to change my mic input.
Yeah,
you
can't do that. You got to quit the game. And it's just like, that's ridiculous. So they've already stated that you're going to be able to pause, like completely pause a game, not just pause in game, but pause the game application itself, and jump out and, you know, either get to your XMB or your desktop or whatever they're going to call it, and you're going to be able to do those sorts of things and jump back into the game without having to actually quit the game, which is a very positive step. And in reality, I don't really have. I mean, it annoyed me, but when you look at the system specs of a PS3 versus the system specs of the upcoming PS4, you can understand why they don't allow for much of anything in that regard. Oh, and one more thought too, just on the with the controller, the fact that they have the light bar integrated with the you know, the move. It's basically the move integrated into the controller. I don't care. I have a move. I never use it. In fact, I should probably sell it to some poor sucker out there that likes to play Just Dance or something. Yeah. and just get it out of my drawer. But it's nice that they have it in there because, like, let's say they don't use the touchpad for navigations, they could use. It'd be nice to be able to even just like Wiimote style, like be able to browse through things just via
point and click.
Yeah, point and click with your controller. So it gives. The thing I like the best about the controller, despite they didn't make any earth-shattering changes, what they did implement allows for them to do a lot of different things with it, things that I'm sure no one's even thought of so far. So.
Yeah, well, they did show how the demonstration was the ability for that share button. And this is coinciding with the multitask ability. My favorite thing about that, I will say that there's still going to be a market for PVRs. There's still going to be a market for Elgatos. Because as much as consoles are like, okay, now you can take a piece of gameplay and instantly upload it to your Facebook. That's not what we're trying to do. You want to be able to edit things and do all that kind of stuff. But watching the demo where the guy simply hit the share button on the controller, which I think is a great idea, it pauses his game, he immediately goes out to a menu, and this was instantaneous, and it said, how far back would you like to save your gameplay? And he just simply picked an interval. So he said the last 30 seconds, save. And the best part about the announcement of the PlayStation is how many background processes it can take. No more asking it to download something and waiting for it to finish before you enter a game again.
Use it. Yeah.
Yep.
Which is just ridiculous. So, all right, so moving on to the social aspect. Now, this is pretty much what the entire event where they were talking about the PlayStation was based around. Yes, there were lots of game demos, but I wanted to know more about the console. So, it was interesting to me that PlayStation just referred to it as social. Get ready for social. I'm like, okay, is that the name you're going to call it? That's probably better than PlayStation Home, because I don't see that coming back anytime soon. But speaking of PlayStation Home, it's another one of those things where I saw one menu after another trying to emulate that Facebook kind of world. And as much as they're saying they're going to be integrated with Facebook, I mean, I'm sure crap's just going to show up on your wall. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
If you don't do it right, then people don't use it. And a perfect example of that was when PlayStation announced when they announced PlayStation Home, which who uses it? Please comment below if you're an avid PlayStation Home user. And number two, when was the last time you used the PlayStation browser to go browse the internet? Because it was all about how easy it was going to be, all in one. And I just simply don't see that the case. So my fear is that, and I can't wait to see the Xbox demonstration next, because I want to see what they do socially.
Absolutely.
But if you don't do it right, we're not going to use it. So hopefully they haven't spent too much time on that and missed the mark on something where they could have improved, I don't know, like something else that'd be more important about gameplay, right? So tell me I'm wrong. I mean, you really care immensely about the Facebook integration and the Ustream integration?
No, you're into it?
Oh no, yes, sorry, I'm on your side. I confused that question, my bad.
Wrong.
Yeah.
So no, I'm with you on that one. I don't particularly care. I don't know how many people are going to care. To me, social media integration, it can be cool, but I mean, I don't really care, honestly. If AK is playing Skyrim and he AK unlocks Dragon Call, blah 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 blah, and it posts to your like Facebook stream. Guess what? I don't care, and I don't think AK cares for me and all his friends to know either that he's nerding it up in Skyrim. I mean, really.
I'm totally against that 100%. Like the whole social media aspect. Yeah, I understand. You're trying to bring in more and get more views into it, but for myself, I rarely use Facebook as it is. For me to all of a sudden, oh, PlayStation 4's out, I can't wait to synchronize it with my Facebook account. I'm definitely not going to be doing it unless I absolutely have to. And even then, I will turn off every single notification.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll
every
be able to
other
opt
friend
out, yeah.
and all that. Because I don't care if you've unlocked a trophy. I don't care if you beat the game. I don't care if you died 36 times at one spot. You know, like, I will try to come and help you if you ask. But, again, I'm not going to want to care about Facebook feeds and this person got this trophy and this person's reached this level, and it's just it's a big miss for me.
What I like about the social aspect is if I turn on my console, and then this is the coolest part about the demonstration, your console's never off. When you turn it off, it's saved at the point that you were if you're in single player, and it's right back on when you're there. So if you're in a multiplayer menu ready to go onto a lobby, it'll just open up and you're there. It's a constant online environment, which I like. But the cool thing about social, if it's done correctly, I should be able to turn my PlayStation 4 on, see that A-Bomb and AK are already in a lobby, click Instant Connect, and I should be there.
Oh, immediately. Exactly. Yeah. That's where I agree. I mean, obviously, we're speaking in generalities because we don't know for sure what what social is going to look like. But that said, the basic levels of social media interactivity we don't care about. But if it's done well and in a way that actually enhances the gameplay experience itself, then I'm all for it. But if it's just a gimmick, as a way to share things out of your gaming experience, well, for me, the core mechanics of PlayStation and gaming in general is the gaming, not anything else that surrounds it. And while I love extra features and I love extra functionality, the reality is, unless it benefits the game experience, I don't really care, and I don't care to pay for it. Whether it's in the price tag or not, you pay for all of those things.
Yeah. The one social aspect that I am a little excited for is the ability to just hop in and watch other people's games.
Yes,
so let's say cool. I'm doing something at home, I'm playing a game, and then I've got to do some work, but I want something on in the background. Well, not all the time I'm going to turn on TV because most of the time I'm only watching sports. So if I'm able to jump in and watch one of my friends playing NHL 13 in like a shootout or a game, or watch another buddy play a Madden game, or jump in and watch AK and A-Bomb light up some noobs, that's awesome to me. That's the greatest part of it. Being able to just live view other people's feeds for what they're playing, that does it for me right there. If that's the whole bit, that'll be the biggest social thing for me.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. From what we saw in the demonstration, it looked very Facebook-esque. They kind of have this profile and blah, blah, blah. But I'll use this as an example. Just another tell me I'm wrong. I was trying to explain this before, just on, it's okay to create something that has the intention of being used, but unless it is used, it's useless, that you spent way too much time. Again, PlayStation Home. Complete waste of developers' time in the PlayStation world. Why would you let that even exist? Because it was just a bad idea. And I hope PlayStation understands that it was a bad idea, and you can kind of tell when people talk about it. But, for example, if social media is done right, I should be in a game, and I should be playing with A-Bomb and AK, and all of a sudden something happens where we get kicked, or maybe the game crashes, because we all know no matter how hard publishers try or developers try, there's going to be some glitches. Right now, when I get kicked from a game, I have no... I'm not prepared to exit, go over to my friends list, find A-Bomb's gamer tag, find AK's gamer tag, open it up, send them a message that say, hey guys, just got kicked, I'll try and get back on in a few. No, I grab my cell phone and I text them. It needs to be that instantaneous and that useful. And I'm sorry, but I don't know anybody that's purchased the keyboard for the PlayStation. A little thing that goes on top of your controller so you can type.
I was pretty close to it the other day if I could have found one, just from all the messaging from hockey I've had to do. But go on, sorry.
You just get those crazy thumbs when you got to be texting, and it's like, okay, this is a waste of time.
Right, X, down, X, left, X, right, X, space, right, X, yeah.
In fact, I would like to type that way all the time. Every device. Everything in life.
Just on the iPhone. It's a touch screen, but you have to hold the little directional character right.
And navigate over to the character. X, yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. Great way to do it.
So again, the elements that they've talked about and the elements that they were trying to create and to make everything so social and so connected, let's hope it works properly. Because when the PlayStation was first announced, and it took them over a couple of years to develop PlayStation Home, the big thing about PlayStation Home was you should always turn your console on and go into Home, walk around, talk to people, and sure enough, the first week of PlayStation was just full of a bunch of jackasses that were just calling everybody racial slurs and just being
and dressing
ridiculous.
Their avatars in interesting costumes.
Then the big thing was you could start any game in home and play with your friends instantly. Yeah, that never worked.
Yeah.
And eventually it died, which is funny to me because yesterday's big PlayStation email was watch the press conference in PlayStation Home. You walk into a little theater and you're sitting with people, and I'm like,
awesome.
No, I'm going to my favorite blog site and I'm just gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so in a very roundabout way, we were talking about streaming and sharing, but on the streaming side of things, streaming games. How cool is this? Sony acquired a company called Gaikai a while ago, if nobody knows what it is. It's a game streaming service, kind of like, I'm trying to think of the name, OnLive or like, things like that. So Sony's purchased this. They now refer to it as Sony Cloud. Now, how sweet is that? Demos from now on will no longer be here, go ahead, download this 4 to 8 to 12 gig file or whatever before you can try the demo, or a beta or whatever. That's one feature set that we'll be able to look forward to with demoing games, is just simply streaming the game. So you don't have to download anything, you don't have to wait on anything, you just simply get in there and go. And I'm gonna assume, again, no official announcements or anything, but we can assume that they'll expand that product offering in the future, which would mean we would have more options for streaming gaming, which would be, I think, fantastic, especially for legacy titles. In the future, PS4 does not have native backwards compatibility for hard disk games, but they are eventually the same way you can play some PS2 and PS1 games on your PS3 via downloads in the PlayStation Store. They're going to have that in the PS4. So it's kind of nice that they're going to have a streaming option, because there's a lot of lo-fi games in the past that I think people would love to bust out for nostalgia's sake. Yep. And if it's part of a streaming service, even if it was like a monthly subscription, it'd be nice to have that option to, once in a while you want to go and play like some old school Castlevania, or insert random title here, like Sonic the Hedgehog. Yeah, there you go, some GoldenEye.
Well, they did properly represent that cloud gaming by saying that if you've got a legacy title that you love to play, not only take it on the cloud service, but grab your Vita and play it on there as well. Yeah. I thought that was great. And I remember, I specifically made a note of this when they talked about having a complete digital library and you wanting to try a game, you just simply click it. They said it was going to be free. Now, Sony's done some things in the past that I say that might not be the case, but try before you buy. There used to be always limitations to a game, play one level. No, truly try before you buy, and instantly when you click the title, you start playing. Because data in the background will be downloaded as you play the level. To me,
which is insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
If you know how code works in a game, that's absolutely like ridiculous to think that that's even possible.
Oh yeah, welcome to the new landscape in digital entertainment. That's for sure.
Talking about any other points as far as games and stuff, every game that they showed, I kind of expected to be there.
Yeah.
The nicest one for me that I saw is I still haven't seen enough from the Destiny reveal to say that that's really cool. For me, it was actually Killzone, where I'm like, wow, that's like just gorgeous. All the graphics and stuff. You were kind of waiting for the cinematic to end, and then it was just kind of perfectly brought together, and all of a sudden you were watching the guy run around with a really cool gun that offered like a sniping ability, and then just kind of SMG built into one. So I'm really quite excited to see what the hardcore titles bring to the PS4.
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm excited just based on the seemingly positive reactions of the game developers at the reveal. I think it again bodes well. They've got all the major partners, obviously, all in on the PlayStation, which is outstanding. And to me, while there wasn't anything earth-shatteringly positive that we hadn't heard or hadn't been rumored previously, I don't feel like there was any disappointing parts of the announcement. You know what I mean? Like okay, Sony is officially moving to a pay-per-use model for online access to their games.
They're saving that for E3.
Yeah, saving that for E3.
Yep.
And they also announced, they also put to bed the rumor that used games would no longer work, which they've said. Sony has said, yep, used games will work on the PlayStation 4, so that whole market still exists for people, which I think is important. Not everyone wants to pay full pop for a title, and not everyone wants to play those titles on release. So I think it's good that they've retained that. And again, you know, with the games that are going to be available cloud-based, that are going to be available with the PlayStation Store, they're all positives. So as far as the upcoming titles, again, we got the whole like Square Enix. We're going to announce this later, and Capcom with their working title, and then Blizzard with Diablo 3. Like, oh, you've blown my mind. But the fact is that they, you know, developers are creating content for the PlayStation 4. That's a thumbs up.
I'm excited for the cloud-based service if it's done right. I'm hoping that if I go back home, if I go back to Winnipeg and I want to play on my friend's PlayStation, then I should be able to access my games without having to bring them, if this is going to work fluently, or at least be able to access some kind of content on it, whether it be like an expansion pack or downloadable content, you know, whether it be map packs or things like that. I want to be able to access that elsewhere, not just on mine, especially if it is a true based cloud service.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. I wonder, and you know, talking about the developers again, I wonder if developers will have a say in how that content is delivered, because Sony said that their goal is to have every PlayStation title available to play on the Vita via the remote play, which to me is incredibly that's very ambitious.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say about that. I'll be shocked, and I'll be very impressed if they manage to pull that off. So like the fact that you can, I mean, it's even amazing that you can do it with the PS3. Like it's like the world really is changing, and the gaming world is changing now. You know, is anyone going to be able to bring their Vita on the road and log in remotely and play Call of Duty online? I don't think that's going to work very well. But
it's that multiplayer problem.
No,
latency will always exist no matter how fast you've got it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's going to be a single player thing for sure. And well, I mean, they may offer support for the multiplayer side of games to do that. It's just not going to work. So I wouldn't even ever bother trying it. So
going back to the PR of things, it was interesting that what you said there, Abom, about I really didn't have any disappointments. To me, that's the benefit of holding your own press conference when there's no competition. Mm-hmm. This is a PR move for me. I'm on the fence. When they announced that they're going to have their own little conference, and it had nothing to do with the video game industry, this was solely Sony saying, "Come to New York, check us out." That's all it was. On one end, you're safe. You don't have to worry about a competitor, whether it's Nintendo, even though they've got their console out already. Or Xbox coming out with the competitive message about, oh, you're doing this, well, we're doing this. Mm-hmm. But that being said, do you think it's a good move that they announce stuff this early before E3? Do you think it's a good hype station, or did they already hurt themselves by taking less hype out from the E3 and leaving it all to Xbox to blow everybody's mind, if they, in fact, they do at the E3 conference, if Xbox doesn't have a conference before?
Maybe, but on the other hand, Sony, from a Sony perspective, maybe they feel like they're putting some pressure on Microsoft to, it's like, oh wow, okay, Sony is doing this, and this, so now, you know, it's possible I mean, you never know. I mean, I could get into corporate espionage, and who knows how much each of the two companies know about the competing product. But I mean, just simple Google searches and checking out Engadget, we know a lot about the hardware. We knew a lot about the PS4 before yesterday, and we know a lot about we assume we know a lot about the Xbox 720, whatever it's going to be called, when it gets announced. And Sony, once again, they're kind of slightly ahead in the technology department, and Xbox, to me, in the past has always been slightly ahead in the integration, as far as Xbox Live. But again, it's a paid service, so I expect Microsoft to do better on that note. If they weren't, then they'd be really falling behind in that regard. So,
but let me ask you this: who's going to make the move at this year's conference? For me, last year contained nothing. Aside from the Nintendo announcement, who really led E3 last year, because let's be honest, they were going to get to the console race first with the Wii U. Whether or not that's going to be successful later on, it doesn't really matter here. But
that's sorry, I just have to interject. They already lost that race. The Wii U is like the answer to the 360 and the PlayStation 3. So thanks for coming out, Nintendo. We're just a few years behind them.
But the conference consisted of people waving their arms sporadically, looking like a bunch of asses, because all they had left to offer was PlayStation Move versus Kinect, and it was oh man, it was embarrassing. I felt bad for everybody on stage that had to do a demonstration of that. So
yeah, they were outrageously bad.
This year's E3, I think Sony did a really good job of making sure there was nothing that was on the fence. Everything looked like a really good feature.
Yep.
But fear not. There will be somebody with a ridiculous idea that literally doesn't make any sense that will be dedicated to Move or Kinect. You saw that on the new Sony Eye is very Kinect-like.
Very much so, yeah. And it has a lot of cool functionality like the Kinect.
I'm waiting for that thing. So it was really cool that Sony didn't come to the stage, and I was just like, really? Like, you got to be kidding. So I'm waiting for that moment to happen. So watching Xbox analyze the crap out of this press conference to see how they're going to do better, I'm really interested to see how the order of things goes at E3. I wonder if Xbox is going to be first.
Yeah, if they're going to be in the lead-off position. I mean, very interesting. I mean, AK, you play Xbox. I don't. So, what do you think, man? Like, what are you seeing out of this?
I'm really hoping that Xbox comes back with it. Like, yeah, I know Sony's. We said they're playing catch up in the ability to have the party chat and be able to do that. In that factor, I'm really hoping Xbox really just brings it to the next level. I've got nothing but great things to say about Xbox, even though I did switch and mainly play the PlayStation now. The controller, that'll be my biggest throwaway if it's with the Xbox. Unless it's changed for the worse somehow, then I probably will go towards the PS4 first. But as we talked all this week, actually, I've been talking about how I love the Xbox controller so much, just the way it feels in my hands, the button layout, the stick layout. I just really liked that a lot more. So unless Xbox like really shits the bed on the controller, then I'll be definitely going to PS4 and maybe won't even consider an Xbox. But at this point in time, I said this before and I'll say it again, I'll probably buy both consoles just for the fact that there's two new things to play.
Yeah, and I'm sure. There are a ton of gamers in that boat that they're not. They're not fanboys. They like video games and they have both consoles and maybe a PC as well. And they're just excited to play games.
It's really interesting to me that we're all of a sudden coming into this world where no one really cares about the specs. I looked at the specs. Yeah, if you're...
They're meh. It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter because, most of the major games come out with both consoles, and there's barely a difference between them. People be like, oh my gosh, the cell shading's so different. Can't believe you can play that. No, and the other reality is that look at the games people are playing. Look at the really successful titles. Again, it's not always about graphics. And if you're addicted to just graphics, I think you'll be disappointed. It's about implementing those game mechanics that keep people coming back.
And that's exactly what, like when I've read some of the interviews from the game developers, that's what they're most excited about. Sony's been working on the PS4 for 5 years now, and they've been actually reaching out to gaming companies being like, what do you want? What do you want? What do you need? What do you need to make the best games? What are your ideas that you can't do now that you want to be able to do in the future? And, we can talk about the hard, raw, technical specs of the PS4, but the fact remains they described it, and obviously they're biased, but it was described as a gaming platform developed by gamers for gamers. So that means, in essence what they're saying is that the gaming companies, they were the ones that dictated how this system was going to go together and what it was going to be capable of, because, they're obviously excited. They feel like the ceiling is so far above where they're at right now with development that there's nothing they can't do or can't try based on current technology. So
that's why I think the conference was all based around the games.
Yeah,
they brought the people what we wanted to see. They didn't do an Apple conference where they talked about dimensions and what it's going to look like. They
14 microns thick. And the console itself weighs 1.273 kilograms. Like, nobody cares. Just show us the games.
No.
So they brought the games, and I'm glad to see that. So I can't wait to see what's next. Let's see if Xbox makes their own announcement before E3. But if not, man, E3 is going to be super interesting. Wish we could go.
Oh, it'd be awesome.
But until then, this is pretty much what we just wanted to go over. We really thought an episode needed to be dedicated to this big press conference, and we all wanted to put our take in.
Just to add to A-Bomb's last spiel there, that thank God that they went to developers and to companies and said, what do you guys need? What do you guys want? Because if I have to wait another 8 months for friggin' downloadable content for Skyrim or whatever game again, I'm going to go bananas, and I'm going to go and buy the other console that day and buy the game for that console
just to
and play that specific console.
Well, already, it's already been confirmed that Destiny will have exclusive content for the PS4.
Oh.
So it begins.
The console wars begin already. And just one last thought about the Xbox announcement versus PS4 announcement. The fact that Xbox will be in some ways responding to Sony. because Sony came and did theirs first, they kind of get to lead off. Xbox will respond, but now Sony gives himself an opportunity as well to say, like, oh, we didn't talk about that at ours because we also have this.
They get to respond again to the respond.
Exactly. So I think going up to bat first worked out well for them. So
right on.
Definitely.
All right, guys, it's been a pleasure talking about this. We'll see what's coming up next.
So
hope you guys
stoked for a new console.
Hope you guys enjoy this episode. We've got some new Crisis content on the channel, so hopefully you guys are enjoying that. We're going to be playing that a lot more, I think, because it's a nice change up from the usual COD. But until the next Tell Me I'm Wrong episode or next video, we'll catch you guys later.
Yeah, keep it real, guys.
And let us know what you guys think about the PS4 announcement. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch you next time.